Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Premarket Info.
We are coming into the heart of earnings season now. J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs both reporting this morning, both beating. J.P. Morgan selling off a bit, though the whale trade still hanging over them. Boeing grounds all 787 Dreamliners after a battery alarm goes off on a flight in Japan. Facebook analysis after the release of the graph search. And CMG guiding lower, trading down almost $30. Joel, crazy morning here. JP Morgan reporting earnings. It's trading down 20 cents, but stock beat $1.39 against estimates of $1.16.
Yeah, I guess they beat on the top line, but not on the bottom
Well, they beat
line.
on the bottom line, but it's the whale trade stuff that's really still hanging over them. $6.2 billion now. They're still putting that and obviously disclosing all of that here. So that's really what's hanging over the stock, trying to get rid of all that end result of the whale trade. It was trading down more earlier, though, was it not?
And it was trading up as well.
It's been all over the place.
We got an initial spike up to 46.91 on the report. And then some people regrouped the troop here, and we got down to 45.60. Now we've rebounded and trading around, $46 area. I'll just go to the dailies here, and boy, did you have one heck of a top forming here at the 46.15 to 20 level. You had multiple highs there. Bumped up it again yesterday, got up to 46.47 before retreating. I would still use this area, even though we got through it yesterday here, the 46.20 to 46.50 level. I still use that as a major resistance. Coming back on the downside, you had a series of lows in the same area as well at the 45.40 level. So I think we're going to bounce around pretty good between that buck range.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we do see a lot of chop even when the regular session starts, because it's been a choppy pre-market for this one. But Goldman Sachs been trading up the entire pre-market, approaching that big $140 number now. They beat big time, $5.60 against estimates of $3.78. Stock is trading up over $4 on 276,000 shares. That's huge volume for Goldman Sachs. 139.76 is the last trade here.
Straight up since those earnings came out. I mean, you gotta give the street credit. I mean, they were looking for good earnings from these things. This thing has been on a march here since trading 115, 117 level back in December. Boy, you have to go out to the monthlies here. I mean, that 140, that represents, a psychological level, as well as supporting the technicals. You had a high in July of 2011 at 139.25, and a high in June of 2011 as well at 140. So we're up here at the stratosphere. If you're looking to short this thing early in the session, wait for the pre-market high and take a look at that. We're up quite a bit and pretty good volume. So I don't know how easy this thing's going to come right back in.
Boeing grounding all 787s here last night after a battery alarm goes off on a flight in Japan. It has an emergency landing. They're grounding their other, I think there's 24 of them or something, so they grounded them all. There'll be no flights today from these 787 Dreamliners. This is just a bit of a mess that doesn't seem to go away. Obviously, a week and a half ago, the stock really got sold off in the news. It bounced all the way back, was trading up near the highs of the move, really, yesterday, and then obviously this news overnight is just punishing the stock. Goldman actually coming out, downgrading the stock now, citing these 787 issues. So this is not good here.
And I bet you I'm the first person to say this. The Dreamliner is turning into a nightmare.
I don't know if you're the first person, but there you go. It's turning into a nightmare, that's for sure. And it's not looking that pretty here this morning for the longs. It's down $3.
Man, that thing, it hit the $73 level when they initially started having problems. 73.11. You also had a low at 72.93 in December, on December 6th. coming down in the pre-market. We have not hit that level yet. Actually, we did. We did get a real spotty trade at 72.86 and 73.10. Hey, I think if you're long this stock, you got to keep an eye on this
Oh yeah.
$73 level. I mean, yeah, I know it's already down a couple sticks, but boy, it takes out that $73 level. You're going to be at 72 in the blink of an eye. I mean, you're talking about their newest product coming out and having all these
It's the
problems.
third major issue here
Yeah,
now,
holy
so
crap.
in a week and a half. So now it starts to get scary. It's one thing to have a one-time event. Oh, plane, catches fire down there. We don't know why. Whatever.
Unless you're
That's
on
scary.
that plane, Dennis. I
Well,
mean, it's,
well, there's nobody on the plane, luckily, but that's a scary thing. But then they come up with another problem, and now you got this battery problem, battery alarms going off. They're grounding the flights. I mean, there's obviously some major concerns here for the company and some unknowns. And when there's this many question marks here, it's very hard to step in and say, look, I'm going to be a buyer. And if you think institutions are coming in, they're kind of sitting on their hands now too, possibly, which makes it scary. And if you get a couple nervous institutions, this stock can move. Like when this stock starts moving, it can thin right up. So don't be surprised if this thing, can take out that 73 low, despite the stock still being up at 73.95 here this morning.
Also, just if you look at a longer term chart, on a monthly, this thing got up near the $80 level a couple times in 2011. I know we didn't get that quite high recently, but besides all these issues that are going on, with the stock fundamentally, you're just at a major resistance point as well. So those two factors don't bode well for Boeing.
Chipotle came out basically pre-announced. They said their earnings are going to be somewhere between, just get them here for you, 192 to 197. Estimates were up at 210. So they're punishing the stock here this morning. It's down 25 bucks at 273.15. I'm looking at this chart. I see 260 as major support. I don't see that much in the 273 area. Where did this get to after hours here?
263.26.
Okay, so there you go. So 263.26 is the pre-market low here, and the after-hours low from last night. So keep an eye on that number. We are 10 points off that low.
Yeah.
So we've bounced nicely here, but when this regular session starts, you'll get a lot more liquidity coming in on the market.
Yeah, we
A lot
actually
more
since hitting
activity.
that 263.26 level, you have had a nice bounce up to 273.15. That 72.73.15 obviously is a soft level here. Looking at the charts, Dennis, you did put out a good number there. 260.01 was the low on December 4th. But just looking at this chart, just looking at the dailies here, look at these. I mean, for nearly a $300 stock, look how many days of just tight ranges and consolidation you had.
Yeah.
And people were definitely letting go of the stock here. You didn't get a chance to play a breakout, below the 292 level. If it does get any kind of a chance to rally back over there over the next few days, 290, 292, that will act as major
I think
resistance.
you're going to see sellers all the way through this now, though. When they're coming out and they're missing earnings, that's just a scary thought. And like you said, there was so much consolidation, people with positions, and a lot of people don't trade after hours in pre-market, so those people are looking for outs once the regular session starts. So that's the reason I get concerned that you see a 10-point bounce. Okay, well that's a lot of people that have been trading in pre-market. It's pre-market action, but once you get real volume and real institutional trading starting during the regular session, I think you're going to see them nervous again. So I think bounces are meant to be sold. If this thing sniffed up to that 280 level, for any reason at all, I think you're going to find sellers starting all over the place. Dell, Faber came out, said the price is probably going to be between 13.50 and 14 bucks. Stock closed at 13.17. Obviously, people wanted a little bit more than that because it's selling off on that report of the possible price of the PE deal being between 13.50 and 14. It's down 39 cents right now, 12.78.
Yeah, boy, sure trading quite a bit away from that projected price. When
Still
that
rumors too.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to play this thing. I mean, if you're playing it, from the long side, and you've had some nice profits in it, and you don't have a belief in the deal. Take a look at the 1324. That's been the recent high. That will act as good resistance. Coming back on the downside, yesterday's low, which is 1242, may come in play today, and that would be supposedly a buck below the takeout price. So there's your support level. If it takes out that 1242, level. You know, if there's any rumors the deal's not going on or whatever, it's got a long way to go down until the 1077 level.
eBay reports earnings tonight. Stock trading flat here, actually up about 20 cents here this morning, 52.70. But man, have you had some consolidation in this stock? Look at the last 10 trading sessions, basically trading between 52 and 53 and a half. This is consolidation. This thing's going to it's winding up to make a move one way or another, and obviously it's going to be the earnings tonight that is going to dictate which way this thing goes. If they disappoint below 52, it's all air. And obviously, if you get above the 54 area, it gets all air up there too. So, watch which way it goes after the report, and maybe you trade with it.
Yeah, 54.20 has been the recent high of the move, and then you have all these lows around 52.35, 45, 43. Also, you go a little bit lower. 52.04 was the low on the 2nd of January. Critical for the stock to hold 52. It takes out 52, it would be trading at 50.
Couple big reports we have tomorrow. Citigroup, probably the biggest of them all. It's trading down here 40 cents right now, probably just a little bit on JP Morgan. And the financials are kind of all trading down just a little bit besides the Goldman Sachs that just blew numbers away. Citigroup is at 42.14 right now after closing 42.57. Chart is looking a little bit toppy to me, but it's so hard to trade stocks technically when there's fundamental news coming out after the bell. So obviously the earnings are going to dictate which this thing goes, but from a technical perspective, it's starting to look toppy to me.
Yeah, multiple lows between 41, 71, and 41, basically 42. That whole 41.70 area, major support. If you take that out, there's not a lot of support in the 40 handle. You also got that gap to fill from the beginning of the year, but boy, this stock has really been on a tear since they dumped Pendant.
Yeah, it really has. Bank America reporting tomorrow as well. Stock has pulled back a bit more than some of the other ones. 11.55 is where it's at. Just trading at 11.53, so only down a couple of cents here. But it's starting to consolidate here the last couple of days as well.
Yep, 11:30 is the level to keep an eye on this one. I know there was a downgrade, I believe last week. They got the stock rolling south. Tried to get back up to the $12 level. It's made a 6 lower highs since topping out at 12.20. So keep an eye. The resistance keeps moving down. Double top at 11.62, 11.63, and major support at 11.30.
Intel reports tomorrow too. Actually, one of our listeners, AC, wanted us to talk about Intel and some of the other semiconductors, so maybe we can do that right now. Intel 2188 where it closed, 2189. I believe it reports tomorrow night, so obviously that's going to dictate where the stock goes too. But looking at the charts, you got a little bit of a triple top there thing happen in the last few days.
Yeah, I would wait for some a rally above that 22.13 level, a close above there. If you're playing this from the long side, you're buying this on the breakout here. You basically have a triple top and a triple bottom. 3 lows between 21.75 and 21.78. I play it if you're playing the upside breakout here above 22.13. I'd have to let it go under the 21.70 level. And what was the other stock in that sector?
He wanted to look at Marvel too, MRVL. They've obviously had this patent lawsuit that's been hanging over the stock for quite some time. I think they had a ruling, but there's still worries that they may have to pay more money too. But the stock, this is it's been the dog market. We've been talking about this, and here's a classic example. 2013 rolls around. This thing was sitting right at the lows of the whole move, and just in the last basically 10 trading sessions, the stocks went from $7 to $8.66. It's approaching major resistance at $9 here. I don't like this chart at all from a long perspective. I think it's a trend that obviously is unsustainable. It's just too steep, and it's also one of those dogs that is just rolling because all the other dogs are rolling right now too. You have the patent thing going on too, so that's the wild card that there could be bad news that comes out of that thing, and the thing could just fall back on you in a hurry too. So down at $7, I'm interested maybe in the long side. Up here at 8.66 when it just ran up $1.66 and 10 trading sessions, I think you're chasing it.
Yeah, I mean, it also that's a very steep trend line
Oh,
there. That looks like it's going to be broken here. A lot of times when you see a move like this, you have the 698 low, and it looks like you have an 876 high now. Probably is going to get a little closer up to the $9 there. There's always a good retracement. I would think if you're looking to buy this thing over the next few weeks in a sell-off, doesn't break out above 9, you can look at the $8 level as a lower risk entry point and hoping it doesn't take out that $7 low.
the NVIDIA NVDA is a little bit more of, it hasn't been on a run, which is somewhat concerning because all the dogs have been running and this stock has been weak. So just exactly opposite to what the dogs have been doing. In the 2013, this thing's been selling off. So you are coming into a little bit of a support area in the NVIDIA. 1172 is a low we had back on December the 3rd, and then you had another low right around the same price at 1170 right on the button on December 4th. So I think you find a little bit of support, 20-30 cents down from here, but here's a chart that don't look great either.
Yeah, I mean, you could take a stab at that 11, here, and then use that 1170 level as a stop out point. If you did wait for the 1170 entry, you always have the low of the move here at 1115 would be a place that you'd absolutely have to let it go. But yeah, this thing made a double top at 13, 18, 19 on the
Straight down
fourth.
since then.
Yeah, since then. So. Yep, this one's coming into support, but there's always risk. So have an exit point if you are getting into this one.
Let's talk about Apple. Obviously took out 500 yesterday, got a downgrade from Pacific Crest. It's not affecting the stock at all this morning because it's up $6.43, 492.35. Have we seen the low in Apple? Some people were tweeting out that yesterday's low 483.38. That's the low. What do you think?
Well, you're for your V bottom. Is this is this enough of a V for you?
Yeah, I don't know if that's enough of a V or not. I'm nervous. We're trading below the key 500 level here. I think you get a bounce up into that 500 area. Here's the problem. You had a lot of consolidation between 500 and 550, obviously over the course of the last month to month and a half. So a lot of traders have positions, probably long positions from that area. If it sneaks up and starts getting into that area again, people are like, thank you, I'm going to get out because I was just down 30, 40 points. I can do a scratch, or I was just down 10 or 20 points. If I can scratch a trade, I'll get out. If this thing gets back up to the 500 area, I think you start to find sellers here again, just on those people who were picking bottoms. So that becomes an issue. So I'm somewhat concerned here. We've talked about Apple before from the weeklies. I know you put an article out there saying how quickly it ran from 400 to 500 back in early 2012. It took 2 months to go from 400 to 500. So there isn't a lot of people that have reference points in this area, meaning that these people or there just isn't a lot of potential to find new buyers in this area because there's not a lot of people really caught short the stock, or they may have been and it's just moved back up. They would have been scrambled out a long time by now. But when you don't have a lot of reference points in a certain area, it means the stock can move quickly back through that area. Now, I'm not saying Apple's going to drop 85 points and go to 400, but it's hard to pick bottoms when you don't have reference points.
Right, and just trying to put things just into a day trading perspective or a shorter term perspective. You did have Monday's low at 98.51, opened right at that level, filled the gap, went up to 498.95 or 498.99 before tanking. Just a $500 level. I mean, it's a buck away there. I think this thing has to get back above 500. I think if it does have a chance to rally back up to that 520 area. But boy, there's a lot of people that are going to be looking to exit this stock ahead of the earnings coming up.
Yeah.
Then we'll have a 50 or 60 buck move off the earnings. But yeah, psychological 500 level is now supported by some technicals.
That's our show for today here, folks. S&P's just hanging out down a couple of bucks, still resilient. It keeps continuing to hold on. And obviously Goldman Sachs helping the market out. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow.